Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So welcome back to our HKF podcast. So this is our second podcast, and with Maharaji's Kirpa, we're so excited that everyone that's shown the support already, and we've seen a lot of support. So with Maharaji's Kirpa, we're excited to kind of share with you what's coming. So today we have a really, really special guest who's here to join us today, and I'm sure a lot of you probably already know about Bhai Sahib. So Bhai Sahib ji, first, before we even start, if we can just say Fateh na Waheguru Ji Ka
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So I'm sure, as everybody probably already knows, Bhai Sukh Singh,
Hanji,
the director of Khalsa Toy Store.
Yeah.
Hanji, so I'm sure everybody already has seen them on social media, and if not already, brought their kind of products already, and everybody already knows. So Bhai Sahib ji, so thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Benji. Appreciate it.
Hanji, so today we just thought, we'll get Bhai Sahib on the podcast just to kind of just talk to us a bit about, the journey of Khalsa Toy Store as well, where the inspiration came from, but also just a bit about your own kind of personal experience as well, like, where Sikhi kind of started for you and how you kind of got into Sikhi and what were the inspirations. So I think firstly, Bhai Sahib, it would be quite interesting if you could just talk to us a bit about the start, so like personally how, the Sikhi journey kind of started for you and how you came into Sikhi.
So yeah, Benji, with myself and my journey into Sikhi, I'd say it's quite slow, but then took a sudden turn. Maharaji Kirpa de Naal. So initially, like, I used to cut my case. I was a Monda until the age of about 19, 20. So I knew a few bits from Sikh history or ityas for things maybe I've heard in like our local Sikhi classes in Coventry, or stuff I might have researched and seen myself. And then there was a sudden pull the more I went to those Sikhi classes and Gurmat discussions in Coventry, when I started researching myself and learning about things in our Jeevan, things that can help us spiritually, and more about the things to kind of refrain from that are better for your overall lifestyle as well. So at that age I stopped drinking, stopped cutting my case. Before that I used to go to nightclubs and things like that at university age. So yeah, I stopped all that Maharaji Kirpa de Naal. And it's then that I noticed that there's quite a progression and growth, and even understanding our ityas, looking more into Sikh history, realising, that we're all sons and daughters of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and what that means to us, what our true identity should be, how we should be living our lives to become, the best version of ourselves. And I noticed that had a positive impact on all elements of my life. So whether that be professionally, whether that be with my own, health and focus, and in my family as well. So yeah, it was around the age of 20, 21 that Maharaji Kirpa de Naal got better, more Sangat, attended regular Kirtan Divans, programs at the Guru Kar in Coventry, and then Maharaji Kirpa de Naal got to take, got Amrit Didat as well when I was around the age of 22.
No, that's really inspiring, I think, for a lot of the youth as well, because I think it's really inspiring to see like how far you've come now with this like really big sewa that you guys are doing, and to see that sometimes Sikhi is not always just from the start, because I think some people that do have Sikhi from the start, or they've got their family, they've just been brought up, sometimes we take that for granted, to see how like Sangat can play such a big impact in changing everything. So in terms of like inspiration, was there like any inspirations or like any from like history, like any Shaheeds or any like from camps, hearing any Sakya that kind of really like hit close to home when it came to?
Yeah, definitely. And this is where I think, the visual impacts of the Sikhi saroop, Singh the other saroop that we see in like, rather than, let's say, paintings and artworks and things like that, that had an effect, like I said, in initially generating my interest. So I remember then, even though I didn't get Amrit Didat till I was about 22 years old, and before that I was quite, and I like didn't really know a lot about Sikhi at that point. When I was younger as a child, whenever I'd see, pictures and paintings of the Guru Sahibs or of Singh Surme, so Baba Deep Singh Ji, Banda Singh Bahadur, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj themselves, I'd always ask like either my grandparents or someone, like, who is that? Why do they look that way? It just had like a royal and regal look that just drew me from a young age. And then only when I got older and I got to read into the ityas of these things, so by Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, Baba Deep Singh Ji, even more modern ages Singh, so Sanjana Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale, Bhai Sukh Singh Ji, through reading their Jeevanis and seeing, the personal strength that they had, strength of character, strength and belief in their faith, what it allowed them to achieve, and then the seva that they did for all Sikhs. So, truly seeing, all the Singhs as their brothers, Bibiyan as their sisters, and how they did a lot for other people. That was a lot, it required a lot of self-sacrifice. So that's something that drew me even more and connected me with the Ityas.
The sudden change in your life, did you find it hard in some ways with the society as well? When they suddenly you took Amrit and they see you're a different person now. Did you find anything hard in that?
I can see why some people would, but with myself and my character, the way I approach things, tasks, even let's say before I came to Sikhi or other things that I've done since then, when I aim to do a task, I do it 100%. So I'm very much an all or nothing kind of personality. So when it came to a decision of, stopping alcohol, for example, it's very much like one day, that was it. I just knew after that next day I'm not gonna be drinking again. And looking back now, there was a certain turning point. There was a sing, I can't remember which singer it was now. Somebody was doing a talk in Gurukar, and they were talking about the Sikhi saroop and identity. And then what they said was, especially to all the, singers there in the male side and the sangat, they said, each time in the morning, if you're still cutting your gears on your head or trimming your dara, etc., they said when you look in the mirror and you're getting ready in the morning, you should see that as if you've cut them cut them on that morning, you're looking at Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj's Saroop in the mirror and you're deciding as if that's not good enough for you. So do we think that we're better than that in any way? Of course we can't be, Hannah, because Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj has given us everything and bestowed such a royal and regal look to us, made us a Raji, made us queens as well for the cause, Hannah. So that was a turning point for me, and it very much once I decided it, then it didn't feel hard at all. There might have been certain elements where, let's say, I miss opportunity to be around certain other individuals and friends, social groups and things like that, but that was very much replaced quite quickly because I had sangat of good Singhs around me. So I still felt that brotherhood, because I knew quite a lot of Singhs, and I've seen that this isn't just a restrictive lifestyle. I think some youth can get caught up in that, thinking it seems like it just means if I'm going to come into Sikhi, I can't do this, I can't do that, so what can I actually do? But when you realise they're not really that big commitments to make, and if anything it's just attaching back and connecting again with your natural saroop. So from the day you're born, if you don't cut your gears, it's not requiring you to do anything extra. You're just being your natural self, how Maharaji has blessed us and given us these gifts from the minute we're born.
And I think so, in terms of advice to a lot of the youth. So this is a question I actually have, is how you said you had a good sangat and a good brotherhood, and you knew you had good inspirations around you, people that told you what was right or wrong. I think in today's time what we see is a lot of youth how do you know what is the right sangat and what is the wrong sangat? Because I think especially now, I'm sure you can probably talk on this, is that times then were a bit different to now. Now we have a lot of influences. Then we used to have strong groups and sangat, and it used to be like that. Like you said, we used to go to the local Gurdwara Sahib, and that sangat was strong. You'd be regular there. But now we look for sangat everywhere, and even with social media as well, it's kind of hard to kind of identify what is right and what's wrong. So in terms of sangat, how could we, focus and try and keep that sangat right for youth as well?
Yeah, I fully hear that, Benji, and I can see the challenges there, because I'm talking about over 12, 13 years ago is when I started getting more positive sangat. You didn't have the big influences of social media and just people feeling that they can do all their sangat online, like cyber sangat or something. Yeah, it's a lot less common. You had to physically go and be in people's presence. And that again is a Sikhi, that we get from Gurmat, that there's a reason why Maharaj emphasises so much for us to come into sangat at least twice every day. Because you will get anyone who thinks they can achieve everything on their own by being isolated and things like that, which I feel like a lot of the youth nowadays, just by the change in lifestyle and technology advances and things like that, people probably do end up segregated, isolated, very lonely. You see a lot more, I think, laziness and procrastination, where people might just be, let's say, locked up in their room for a majority of the day. They don't really meet and greet a lot with even family, let alone sangat at the Gurukar. So I feel like that's quite dangerous there, because you get caught up in your own mind, and then your mind is being constantly influenced by these short videos you might be seeing, or the latest trend and things like that on your devices, which are just in your hand or on your laptop screen. Whereas if you get time to actually be around Gursikhs, you learn their Rani Bani, the way they behave, the way they speak, the way they act with each other, the prem in sangat, the jat want to do kirtan, katha, gurbani, vicharang together. that definitely has such a more magnified and multiplying effect in person, and that's even more magnified when you're doing it in Guru Sahib's Hazuri with Maharaji Prakash. There's a different energy, there's a different aura. So I definitely encourage more of the Najwan to do that as their primary way of doing Sangat. Of course, there's been such advances in, you know, social media and the content we've got online, which definitely you can learn a lot more for. Like in this day and age, in myself, I'll still learn things that I never would have a chance to learn before by seeing it online, seeing it on YouTube videos, Instagram reels and things like that. But I feel like you want to bring that back into, okay, how can you improve yourself as a Gursikh by attending Sangat regularly as well in person?
Andy. No, I think that's really amazing advice to all of the kind of youth as well, because I think it's I think Sikhi I think like Sikhi probably was a bit easier for youth back in the day because we didn't have that much questions.
Less distractions.
And like now I think we question a lot as well, like, oh, but you know, and we have so much things to look at, and we just pick and choose kind of what we want to follow. But like you said about like history and how, like, you know, I think that's quite important as well, just before anyone else looking at like your history for inspiration. And then that kind of links into kind of, you know, Khalsa Toy Store as well, because I think we didn't have this back in those days, like young children having these toys that represent them and being able to just like have it in their homes and seeing like, you know, an action figure with like a bana, you know, I remember there used to be, there's nothing like that really ever existed. So my first question is kind of just, how did this idea even come? Because it's just like such an amazing uprala that you guys have started.
We get this question a lot, as you can imagine, because we are quite pioneering in that sense. So when we put out first that this is the world's first Sikh action figure and then the action figure collection, it's because it truly is that. So before, like Mazgir Padanal store, there's been some things we've done say about making maybe like animations or models of things and stuff like that, but to have something that as a functional toy you can use, you can, you know, the kids can play with it, they can look up to it, it's quite pioneering in that sense. So the way it came about initially was us seeing that there's a gap there, and in terms of how it's lacking, so representation of us as a people in any of the toy industry or even further as characters and things like that in other kind of animations was quite missing. So it was my business partner's young children, actually, they were just watching some, I think, animation movies first on one of the platforms, and then as they're playing with their regular toys that they have, you know, small little action figures, they turned around to a business partner and myself and sat there and they said, like, Dad, why don't we have any toys that look like Singhs? Like, you're always telling us the Sakya of Singhs being great warriors, of Bibiyan as well being, you know, valiant warriors themselves and the true right. So where's the kind of representation? Like, where are they? We can't see them anywhere. How come we don't have those to play with and, you know, look up to and things like that? And then that obviously was like a light bulb moment to us to think, hang on, that's true actually. Why don't we develop something like this? Like, what would actually be stopping us? So we didn't actually have any previous experience in the toys industry or even in character design and things like that. So we very much learned as we went along. But Maharaji Kirpadanal, we were able to, you know, learn at each phase, really break it down. So it took us quite a while to bring out the first one, which you might have seen by now, Bhai Singh, the world's first Sikh action figure toy. And we wanted to go deliberately with broad and sounding names as well. So that, again, the children can connect more to that previous historic period where we'd have these, you know, true, meaningful and powerful names.
And
you know,
I think the action figures help a lot of children, because I have a brother that's 5 years old, and he used to be like, I want to look like Spider-Man. But since he's seen Bhai Singh or even, you know, the movies that are coming out like Baba Garda Singh, he wants to look like them now. He's like, I want to dress up like Bhai Singh today, or I want to wear my bana today. Yeah,
we get that so much. That's probably the most popular like user-generated content that we get, and even emails and personal messages and things like that, that's what then gives us the energy and drive to, you know, get back focused on what we're trying to achieve here, what we're trying to do to move on to then the next thing and not let up with it, because we know now we've got so much, you know, Sangat and a whole base here that are supporting this and wanting it to go as far and far as we can and bring out more products. So we'll always get parents send us, like, there's been at least a good few hundred now that have contacted us and said, look, our children, whenever it's time to take your toy to school day or dress as your hero day, things like that, now they want to wear the bana, so they want to wear the same Kamar Kassa that the action figures have got, Bhai Singh's got, Shaheeds Singh's got. the Bibiyan, they want to wear the Mala, the star like the Kaur's got. They want to learn about, okay, why she called Deg, what does that mean? So they're connecting with their Shastar and history as well. So it's a beautiful thing to see, and that's what actually inspires us more day and day to want to keep sticking to that and follow through with our plan and ambitions.
And again, like with you've obviously started off with Bad Singh, and now you've got BBN as well. Yeah. So in terms of a lot of people might say that how come you went for the look of the star and Bana, because a lot when we look at our youth now in today's time, there's not a lot of BBN that really wear Bana or wear the star, because even though there is so many BBN in our history that did wear the star and did wear the Bana, but I think it was kind of hidden, it wasn't very talked about. So seeing an action figure like that, I think that's really good. But where did that idea come from?
That came from the Badshahi that Guru Sahib has bestowed on us. And a quote that resonates with me quite a lot is that, let's say, kings and queens get crowned once. So, when King Charles, he's going to have, augmentation where he gets crowned as a king, whereas the Khalsa gets to crown themselves every single day. And that's Maharaj's Bakshis. Every time we just sajja that the star, we do our case in the morning, put the star on. We are the kings and queens, the daughters of Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. So we're getting crowned every single day. And then that gives you a certain level of responsibility, a certain level of honour, a certain level of pride as well, that we need to uphold and respect.
And when we look at the look of Sikhi, I think this is just really inspiring in general. I think because not only just for kids, have you had any older youth as well, buying these and getting
quite a few. Yeah, it's very popular. So for a lot of singers and Bibiyan that work in offices, spaces and things like that, they'll want to get them and keep them as desk buddies, so they take them to their workplace. And then it's good because such a visual aid and representation of the Sikh identity that then opens up conversation for them with, let's say, the non-Sikh colleagues in the office or their managers. So someone will approach them, they've told us had this feedback, and ask them, okay, what is that? Why do they look like that? Because see, the saroop and capturing that Maharaj has blessed us with, it captures in everyone, whether they're Sikh or not. So many people approach us, and even when we were in, we had the opportunity, Maharaj get Badinal, to be in John Lewis, the superstore for the day, and on Vaisakhi in Leicester, that was. We had so many non-Sikhs approach us there and say, look, just the look of them, I used to think Vikings look super cool, but this is a completely different level. The Vikings are still, they're known to be with their sword and shield all the time, but it's more of a barbaric look, whereas we've got those physical representation as Shastar, but we've also got quite a regal and royal look. So we truly do look like kings and queens. You can see that there's something special about us in the way that we are.
Anji, yeah.
So what do you think, when it comes to 5 years ahead? Obviously, you guys had Bad Singh, now to Sher Singh, Tekar. In the next 5 years, what are you guys thinking to do, and to inspire the youth, basically? What are you guys thinking?
So to keep connecting the Najwan with our Sikhi saroop and identity. And although these characters have been made fictional, and that's with a purpose as well, to maintain the sadkar of, rather than actual historic Shaheeds and Singhania, we didn't want to replicate anyone's itihas. So we do get a few requests can you make us just a special order of Baba Deep Singh or Banda Singh Bahadur? But, not everyone would be comfortable with that, because then we're not trying to emulate or copy anything. We want to keep these characters fictional, but we'll base it on a Bharathan period where the youth will still learn something historic, whether that be the names, the meaning of the names, the Shastar, what they're called, the Bana that they wear, the Malya that they wear. So in line with that, we want to create so many different things. I'll go into a few of them and not give too much away. So the kind of primary focus is going to be for the next couple of years or so, bringing out all the other products that link in, and then separate sets as well, collections. So there'll be collections with their own Gila, so the fortress that they will have. So that again, give it that, broader look and teach the kids around that, okay, why do we used to have battlefront set up like this? So they'll have horses incorporated into that, other animals, hathis and things like that, a separate range of characters as well. Then we want to develop their backstory, so their names now and a brief backstory that comes with the packaging, but then develop that in an animation, so then kids can again use that to visualize the itihas happening in front of them. So they'll learn about the Bharathan periods, but acted out through these characters and action figurines. So there'll be various battle scenes being made in those animations. They'll learn a bit about, who has been the opposing forces that might have tried to invade Punjab, how frequently, who they were, what kind of impact they had, and then how the Khalsa resisted, fought back, not only for themselves, but for the preservation of everyone around them.
Anji, so Maharaj obviously gave us such an amazing, look, like you said, royalty, है ना? So when we talk about like, you know, linking it always back to the youth, because that's our aim, is that like the youth are listening and, you know, they get inspired hearing that. Like you said, you didn't have a background in like toys, but like, you know, you started this business and obviously it's so amazing. But there's probably a lot of youth that want to, you know, go down this path in the future, whether that's, you know, animation, you know, creating products. So like what advice, so where's the starting point for them? Like creating obviously something like toys, like at this level, like you said, you want in John Lewis as well.
Yeah.
That's such a big achievement, not only for you, but also for the Panth as well. We were getting representation outside about, and I guess, did you probably get like a lot of people coming and like you said, asking about the toys and asking about the look, the Sikhi look? So what advice is there for like the youngsters that want to go down this path, like making use of new technology or whatever they're like good at in terms of like starting their own business or, you know, creating Sikhi products or anything in the future?
Yeah, I'd say for the youngsters and youth who are looking to become professionals in various fields, and then they want to help and, you know, do something where it relates back to Sikhi, and so they can put more seva back into the Panth, I'd say just follow it in your line and your profession to the fullest. So use the kind of inspirational factors of our history and then implement that wherever they can, wherever their profession may be and skill set is. So whether that's in creating video content, whether that's in doing, you know, 3D designs, graphic design work, whether that's in writing, so screenplays. We need more of professionals in each and every line to really add value and then put back into the Panth, because the more and more resources we have in every single field, I feel like that, you know, as a Panth we're limitless, so we can truly be the best in every single field. And if we can bring that around to then do more prachar of Sikhi and connect people with our history, with our faith, with who we are as a people, I think then that benefits everyone. And that's why I did get by playing out in front of everyone.
Hanji. And like, why is it important that we, because you said that, you know, you try to maintain that Puratan look.
Yeah.
Why is it important that we kind of go back to our roots? And when we look at like our history, like you said, you know, you're inspired by different Shaheeds. Why is it important that we always go back to that Puratan look? Because like we said, in today's time, like Sikhi is kind of becoming a bit modern.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of like thinking, you know, the world's changing. We don't need to look like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to Jang, so why do we need to, you know, look, they are what they are basically. And so what, like, in terms of that, why was the reason that you wanted to keep that Parat, and why not just, you know, have a Dastar, like have a Dastar, have a Damalla, but make it more modern? So what was the reasoning behind keeping it Parat? And like, there's a Tal, obviously, Mbad Singh,
Yeah.
you know, having a Kamra Kastar, wearing a Damalla. So why did you stick to keeping it, you know, like that Puratan?
Yeah, because personally that was something that was quite important to myself and my business partner as well, is that we agree in some sense that it's more like us as our future generations and people who are becoming more modernized and more diluted in a sense of wanting to fit in with the West. So with that in mind, we don't want to relate that and then try and dilute our own Sikhi. That shouldn't be the way it is. So Sikhi is a Dal, it will be immortal. So the things that we have ingrained in us from the very beginning, from Bharat and Samay, from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, who shortly afterwards as well, ever since then, everything we were kind of blessed as a Panth. So whether that be physical gifts that we've got a certain way, like I said, our Any Benny, the way we are as a people, how we interact, things that we believe in and what our true faith inspires us to be like, that's not something that we can compromise or dilute. So we might think just because times might move ahead, technology moves ahead, the world around us might move ahead and appear to be modern. Modern doesn't necessarily mean better. So our true way of living and the truth that we seek, which Sikhi is the 100% truth from Akal Purkh, only that is going to have a positive impact on ourselves, on our families, on our Jeevan, on us as souls, who we are as true beings, even outside of this body. The more we connect with the way Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and their message for us as a Panth, is the more happiness and progression that we're going to make even as Sikh.
And you know, that's just amazing, everything that you said so far, Bhai Sahib. And you know, like when we look at our Sikhi image, and like you said, in this world, like it's becoming quite modern. So like in terms of like for Singhs as well, and like for cause that want to maybe, you know, become like these action figures, but more for the older youth, like you said about your personal experience as well, and how, you know, you came into Sikhi at a later stage, you know. So like it wasn't like straight away you were born into Sikhi and you started wearing, you know, the mala and coming into Sikhi. So like for people that want to come into Sikhi and not only get inspired by these action figures, but also just in general, they want to come into Sikhi, what can they do as first step in coming into Sikhi, whether that's, changing your Sangat or like reading about your history? What would you say is the most important thing for them to make their first step into, coming down this path?
Yeah. First steps I'd suggest is, like I said, getting Guru Maharaj's darshan as much as you can and try to our best. Like Maharaj's told us, is to get them at least twice a day or come to Sangat at least once or twice a day. Make it a regular part of your routine, make it the primary goal and focus. And you can do that individually, then you'll notice members in your family will want to then spend time with you and probably go along. So then you can share that, something that bonds households together as well. That's something else I think youth struggle with at this day and age, because they're isolating themselves. They're breaking relationships and bonds, whether with their sibling, whether with their parents, whether with their grandparents. So it kind of has a detrimental impact on our morality and how we are domestically as families as well. So I think it's regaining that, tying back in with our culture, because Sikhi has its own culture as well. The way we should be with our family, the way we respect members, the way we do very hard to our elders and listen to them. And don't think that just we as youngsters know best, because that's not always the case. So I'd say it's getting attached back to Guru Sahib and the Guru Kar, spending more time in Sangat, trying to do your best you can for yourself and the people around you, working together, having ekta, prem, pyar with Sangat, trying to help a fellow brother or sister wherever you can, doing seva of the Sangat, spending time that will teach you humility, and then in your personal even in your own routine, advancing that as much as you can. So it's very important, and I'm speaking to myself here as well, because you need to remind yourself every single day, is you need to take the time aside to do your Naam Simran, to read your Nitnem, to spend time alone, to close down your thoughts, connect again with Guru Sahib, with Maharaj, with the Akal Purkh, research and learn about the Yodhe of the past and the present as well, whether that's, Shaheed Singhs and Singhniya Ityas, all the warriors that we've had throughout the month, learn Guru Sahib's Ityas as well, the Sakhiyan, listen to them. Like I said, there's so much content and channels now available where you can do that. And then the final stages is, once you've got that connection, Prem, taking the step, it could be the initial step though of the next phase is taking Amrit Didat, because once you get that from the Panch Pyare, that'll just unlock so many of the doors, and then it starts a whole different journey for yourself.
And so when we talk about Amrit Didat as well, like, would you say, like, a lot of people say that, like, when you take Amrit, like, that's it, like you said before, it's just a whole entire, like, Maryada, it's like hard, it's very hard to live that lifestyle. But would you say that you have to be perfect to take Amrit, or is it all part of the process, learning? Or do you think, because that's the question that a lot of youth have, where they're like, no, I can't take Amrit yet because, I'm not ready, I'm not perfect in all aspects. So would you say that for the youth, they have to be perfect, or it's all part of the learning experience and Maharaj, help you and guide you through it?
So my opinion is that Amrit Didat and taking Amrit as a whole process is quite individualistic and unique to each person. But Guru Maharaj tells us themselves that it's the Prithvi Red, so it's the very beginning stage. So that's just like your Dakla in that new school, college, or university, whatever you want to call it. Hana. Your true education as a Guru Sikh is just going to start from there. But to be registered and be part of it, you need to first get admission and be in there. So there's no such thing as not being good enough in my eyes to take Amrit, because Amrit Didat is for everyone. And it's then realising whether you can maintain that or uphold that is something you're going to learn as a process. But it's that prem you're going to get once you take Amrit Didat, and the blessings you're going to get from Guru Sahib and the Panch Pyare that will drive you along the way. And then the Amrit itself, once it's within your body, within your case, is something that's going to join you to it, and you'll have a different connection to Maharaji, you'll have a different connection to Sangat and Guru Sahib that will drive you on and inspire you to be the very best that you can be. And that is something that everyone needs to aim to do.
Andy, that definitely makes a difference in people's life. Like when you take Amrit, that's when you start learning. Like, we are an army, we are a forge. And when you, like, even if you go to any army, you join them, you'll start learning. You don't have all the skills already. You start learning from there. So what would you say to the youth when it comes to Maryada, especially? Because people are like, we can't do this, we can't do this. They question a lot of things, because so much social media, they question every single thing they see these days. What would you say to that?
I'd say questions you can have, which is fine, but it's your approach to the questions. So there shouldn't be anything that you see, let's say, just because you've seen a video on social media, you read some posts that sounds, like the quite new and appealing way of doing things, this is better than the old school. I think the more, when it comes to Maryada, you need to focus on what's brought in pre-colonial, before there's any kind of malawat by the British or removing any of our textures or, any kind of anti-Dasampachar in that sense. So the more you can connect with sources that are pre-colonial and date to that, from the Sampradars and Maryadas that are followed from the beginning, where you can see that, and that's in various sources, you can always research and find out. Just follow that to your best, and there's no compromise with that. When it comes to your Amrit Sanjar, whatever the Bhai Singh Sahiban have told you, and that is your Maryada, that is what you need to believe in. You don't need to worry about anyone else's opinion on what they think is right or wrong, because Manmad doesn't have a role to play in that. It's just pure Gurmat, and there's going to be nothing outside of Gurmat that the Panch Pyare Singh Sahiban tell you on your Amrit Sanjar.
And and again, like you said, about like doing your own research and finding out what Puratan Maryada is. And I think, like you said about influencing, it's easy to just watch a video and get all the information that we need, all the gyan that we need. But like you said, I think reading our history is such an important point, because we can get all of the knowledge from what our Puratan Gursikh Shaheed things did, what they followed, and how they lived their life, and we can try to like implement that. No, Bhai Sabji, there was like so much that we learnt in general a lot today. Not only just about like Khalsa Toy Store and like about the journey of how again you got inspired to start this business, because it's not easy coming up with all these designs and then putting it out there, because like you said, it's never been done before. So there might have been a bit of a worry that you might have had at the start, that like, is it going to get the attraction that we want it to get?
Yeah, it was quite daunting to start with, and even now and again you can get them thoughts thinking, are we doing things the right way? Are we going, let's say, quick enough? Did we get so much, like I said, mentioned requests from Sangat, and it comes from a good place, always this excitement, but at times it can build pressure, thinking, okay, can we get this much done within this year? Maybe not, where the resources are going to come from, but it's all Guru Maharaji's hukum. We're just happy to see that there's so much support for it, and people are bought into it so much in terms of how thrilled they are and how excited they are for this, not only for them, their families, the kids in their families, children, etc., because they're truly seeing the value of when the young children are seeing these action figures as a visual aid and realizing it's something that can relate to and connect with. So that was another reason, coming back to why we didn't copy any Itihasic figures and we kept them fictional in that sense, because when it's fictional, you see so many kids look at it and be like, I'm Bhai Singh, so today I'm going to be Bhai Singh. The way they carry themselves, all of a sudden their shoulders will be back. They wanted to look, with that posture. Even for the singing as well, they've noticed, it's quite a strong looking core, in good physical condition. So they carry them, because when it's a fictional character, they can say that is them. Where that'd be hard to do if it was, factual or Bharat and Shaheeds. You would want to emulate or copy someone, but with this, we liked seeing that. So the kids themselves, they'll call themselves Bhai Singh, Sher Singh, or Tegh Kaur. And then when it comes to then explaining to other people who we are, why we look a certain way, they're using the toy as well as a way of showing them physically. So, that's quite good to see, and that's something that drives us on, and that helps us, erase any doubts about what we want to do next, what's feasible and what's possible. Because Mazgirpa, like I said, I believe as a people, we are truly limitless. We can be the very best in every single field, whatever we want to do, as long as we keep Guru Sahibs, and their das at the forefront of that, and ask for their Kirpa and blessings. And just coming on to something that I wanted to mention earlier as well, was when you were asking about the Najwan and, the steps forward for them, and because physically we can we can wear all this attire, we can wear the bana, we can wear the malla, but there's a certain responsibility that comes with that we need to uphold. So I get to do a bit of seva with other organisations like Sikh History Series, Bhaji Man Singh, with the Singh Army podcast as well, some of the things there, and we do these things for Najwan in some Gurukas where we get to put on a Case Sambal seminar, and that's teaching the youth, if you're going to be a Singh or a Singhani, then the responsibility comes with that, to be able to look after yourself, to have a certain stature and presence about yourself. We can't wear this attire of Surme and be beyond that, being warriors, and then be timid in that sense. And it's not then to teach anyone, to then use that to, let's say, bully anyone or anything like that. It's actually your anti-bullying steps, because you've seen Benji yourselves, and some of the guys watching back home will have seen there's so many videos, and it just breaks everyone's heart when they see someone being picked on because of the way we look. So because we do have such a distinct identity and a look, it can be quite offsetting to non-Sikh. So if they feel threatened by that, or they want to target that for whatever reason, we need to be able to respond and handle ourselves to make sure not only we maintained our own dignity and self-respect, but the dignity and respect for the dastar, for the bana, or whatever saroop we're wearing at that time.
And the responsibility is just a lot. And I think that's kind of the reason why we wanted to start this seva as well, because we kind of just felt like it's very easy to have the look, because it's like you said, like even with these toys now, they didn't exist before. So now this new way of doing prachar is more accessible for like all the sangat. So upcoming youth, they can have these toys and they can get inspired when these things never existed before. So I think like Sikhi is quite easy in the sense that we're able to get access to these things. So when we talk about like Shastra as well, it's not hard to buy Shastra in the UK, or get a bana, or get a dastar. It's not hard, but maybe in the old times it was quite hard, to get access to these things. So it's easy to get like have the look and have the look, and we see a lot of youth as well. They have a lot of ban and wear bane, wear big damalle and everything. But like you said, I think that's really important. Like always making sure that we have that responsibility wherever we go, because we're not representing ourselves, we're representing like Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. So we do have a big responsibility. And again, I think it's the really good point about this is that, when like we said before, like kids see action figures and they want to become that. But like Maharaj gave us this Sikhi saroop, and Maharaj said that we can become this, and not just only sings, but singania as well. We can have the same look and we can look like that. And not only look like that, we can become like that as well. We can live like that if we want to. So I think that's really inspiring, especially for like not only younger kids, but older kids as well, because I think we all grew up on like, looking at action figures.
Definitely. Us as well, we just look at the Karnal, we want to look like that as well.
And like superheroes, that we all want to become that when we're younger, but knowing that we can become like Bhai Singh, and there's like so much history there, and so much, sakyan there in our itihas that we can read and get inspiration from. So I think, it was really inspiring by Sabji, everything that you told us today, and not only by your own personal experience, because I think a lot of people might not know that, like, you weren't just born into Sikhi, and it was like Sikhi from day one. Like you said, age 21, 22 was when you like fully came into Sikhi, and so that's quite inspiring for a lot of the youth, and hopefully everyone listening can take away that, if you want to come into Sikhi, it's all about just taking that first step. So like the last question that I would ask you, Bhai Sabji, is like, in terms of like, anyone that's listening to the podcast, which if they're sings or singania as well, like what would be like your last advice to them, whether that's, when they're coming into Sikhi, what can they do, like, after listening, what can they do, what can be their first step, whether that's, reading history or going to a camp or going to the Gurdwara, what would you say would be like the best advice, we could give them to take next steps into like, strengthening our Sikhi?
Yeah, I think my final message on that would be for the Naujawan, and this again relates to myself, it's an example I need to follow as well, is, improve your prem and pyar for sangat within each other, and improve the ekta as well. So rather than looking at people and thinking, hang on, I don't like the way this certain Jathibandiyo groups do things, I feel like my way's better. Yeah, we need to come away from all of that, and we need to just focus on, first of all, just being the best version of a Gursikh that you can be yourself, and then try and influence and carry that on to others through your actions, through your Rani, through your own Nitnem, through your Vichara, how you speak to people, how you treat people, especially the elders as well. Like I said, realising that just because we're younger and we think that the older generation might have made mistakes, whether that's in committees or in communities with their standing and stance, seeing the gun in everyone and seeing the positive impact that they've actually had for us, our current generation, and the ones younger than us, to be where we are now. Because as a Qawm, we are in a more strengthened position worldwide, I believe, because you'll see more and more, like I said, Singhs and Singnia wearing the Stara now, more and more Singhs and Singnia and Bani. So we need to transfer that and make sure our Jeevan lives up to that, so that we can withhold that, the saroop, and withhold the sanctity of it and the responsibilities and Jumawariya that come with that. And then as a collective, we should focus all our energy then on thinking, okay, now if I'm, seeing gains and advancement in my own jeevan, with my family, in my own resources, how can I put that back into the Panth as a community to strengthen everyone around us? And that'd be my final message on that.
And I think definitely the point that you said about Ekta, I think that's such a good point to end on, because like you said, Sikhi is advancing and Sikhi is everywhere, but there are a lot of people that do try to finish Sikhi, and they do want to finish our Sikhi and our Panth, but obviously Sikhi and our Panth will never be finished. But I think that Ekta is so important. We should be encouraging each other. It doesn't matter about what Maryada we follow, what Jathebandi we are in, but if we all should just support each other and in any way that we can to promote Sikhi in the most positive way, connecting to our roots. And like you said, again, with these action figures as well, hopefully kids will see this and get inspired, and we'll see more kids, going into their schools, wearing the stara and, having the Sikhi look, not only from inside but outside as well, and getting inspired, because in any way that we can utilize, this new technology and new, advancements that, we can get out, bring toys out, or movies or films, animations, I think it's really important, because anything that we can do to, do prachar, I think we should all just kind of do that, because any way that we can push Sikhi out there for all the youth, because, we are living in Kaljug and it is quite hard for some youth to kind of connect to Sikhi as well. And having these action figures or seeing movies about Sikhi and bringing it to life, is really positive. So Bhai Sabji, there was thank you so much, obviously, for coming onto the podcast today. We learned a lot, and we're really excited to see what next to come for Khalsa Toy Store as well. I think everybody listening, I think they took away something really positive. And so if for everyone that's listening, we would definitely say make sure to check Bhai Sahib, check Khalsa Toy Store out on all social media, which I'm sure everybody already is following you. And if not, they should definitely support you. And also, if you are listening, make sure to subscribe and to support.
Yeah, of course, it's an awesome umbrella that you guys have started. So congratulations on that, Benji, to all of you. It's very inspirational as well to see that you're taking action, you're taking the lead, coming out of your comfort zones and giving, singing our platform as well to do Gursikh Vichara and really empower each other. So that's amazing to see. And yeah, guys, if you can all support by going on to khalsatoystore.com, and you can support us by purchasing the action figures, recommend them to your friends and family. I'll be super grateful for that, and it will allow us to then keep producing more and more products and move on to the animation side of things to get their story out there and connect more of our youth to our Sikh identity and image.
And there's probably loads of mistakes that we made, but we hope that Maharaj just get that in the future we can all do seva for the Panth in any ways that is. So just to end up with Bhai Sabji, we just say Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka
Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.